Welcome back to Sunrise Daily. Mr. Muyiwa Astrobo joins us now. He's a legal practitioner. Thank you for coming on this morning.
And thanks for having me.
Well, interestingly, you also have a lot of knowledge about what transpired in U.S. democracy. And we also looked at some of those figures and we thought, wow. But having heard what the senator has said and our laws and the figures, what do you think?
Well, first of all, I think Senator Abdullahi, he was correct in saying that we have a term for it. We're going to introduce a new term to the lexicon. It's called double dipping. Okay?
Double dipping?
Yes. You know, when you eat this Chinese dumpling and you have to dip into the sauce.
It's legal.
It's legal. It's legal, even over in the United States. We call it double dipping. But what we are talking about here is not only double dipping, we are talking about triple dipping, we're talking about multiple dippings here. And just listening to him, for instance, if every National Assembly stands on its own, say the 8th Assembly, for instance, and at the end of each assembly, you have to take what they call severance payment. That means if you are returned as a member of that the next assembly, when that ends, you get another severance payment.
That's double.
That's like multiple. Now, double is when, as a governor, you serve your term and you become a member of the Senate, and you are receiving salary as well as receiving a pension from the state. That's double. Triple is when, plus the salary, at the end of your time, now you get some pension from that. Now you see what I'm saying? And that does not happen anywhere that I look except here. And for instance, in the United States, of course, in fact, in the Senate they have a club they call Double Dippers Club. Those who have served before and now they are in the Senate, they've started at the state level, and you have to look at the structure over there though, because here now we can't. It's like sometimes we want to have our cake and eat it too. Now, if we're talking about a federal structure, you have to look at the states as being a little bit separate from the federal entity, and that's what occurs over there. So if you're served at the state level, and now you go to the federal level as a lawmaker. Yes.
But you know, the other perspective to this, much as, yes, the law says what it says, but the concept of public service is what we also look at here, because we see people do all sorts of things, spend all amounts of money to get into that office. And then the people here don't feel as though they have that power over them to say, no, you can actually earn this amount of money, this is kind of too much. And so in some of those climes where the double dipping goes on, the public actually has a huge amount of say, nope, yes, you may want to double dip, but this is the amount you have to earn. But here, we see the state assemblies make laws that the governors, when they leave, they get the salaries or severance packages, which is humongous. And in many of those cases, maybe at the initial stage, they don't think they're going to end up in the Senate. So when they make provisions for those laws, it's as though this could take care of me for life. And you add to that, you end up in the Senate. Maybe say 3, 4, 5 times senator.
I understand that, and that is what is disturbing here. You have to look at this on 3 levels. The moral level, we leave that for the ethicist. The legal level, which the senator explained that, well, it's not illegal to do this, it's lawful. They have to look at the fairness of it.
Right, just give us a moment. We'll be back. Just hold your thoughts for a second. We'll be back after the break. Welcome back to the Sunrise. Pardon me for that. I could go on. Continue your thoughts.
But like I said before the break, 3 aspects to look at: the legal, the fairness, and the moral. I think on the fairness ground is where I'm disturbed. And when I hear lawmakers saying we have to change the law, I'm disturbed because you are there. You're supposed to change the law. Don't say we have to. Come up with the initiative to change the law, even at the Senate level or at the reps level. You can actually affect what happens in the state. Now, talk about the governor. Which state of assembly in this country will pass a law against a sitting governor? I mean, that's you have to look at the structure, and if you compare the structure to where we copy our democracy from, you feel as disturbed as I am. A senator over in the United States, of course, they have pension, but at no time can a lawmaker's pension be more than 80% of his or her salary? And they have a way of calculating this. First, you have to serve at least 5 years before you can even think about any pension. So, for instance, in the House of Reps, that means you have to run 2 times.
What did they impeach you?
Well, if they impeach you before you serve 5 times, then there's no pension. Before you start, you earn 5 years. There's no pension for you because the law says 5 years. So, but for the Senate, because the Senate time is 6.
Is this in the law here?
That is the issue here. And then you look at the amount that we are talking about. Now, I've spoken about the double dipping and triple and multiple dippings. If you add all those up, in this economy, in this Nigeria, where some state employees are not paid for months, we have millions of youths who walk in the street. I mean, you want to ask yourself, is this right? Is this moral? Is this fair?
No, but this, as the senator said, these people have worked, they have served, and they deserve to get what comes to them.
Yes.
I mean, having served, there's a package that comes to you. You get a servant's package,
yes,
and you get some kind of pension. You said it.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the United States, they get a pension. You know, and in this case, the governors, having served 8 years, they're getting a pension that includes building them a house, buying them a brand new cars every year or every 4 years, as the case may be in some. They get 5 million health allowance. That's different from the pension. 5 million health allowance for the governor and 2.5 million for the deputy governor. Different from the pension. I mean, they have served and they deserve this.
Well, again, the senator was right when he said, well, maybe the law supports it. But I'm coming from this fairness and moral ground. What in the U.S., I don't know of any governor that will get all those things that you mentioned as part of their severance. Even the legislatures in Washington, they rent their own apartments. Nobody gives them houses. I mean, they have this privilege of parking at the airport. You know, they give them this thing, you can park for free at the airport or the city services, but nobody gives them houses.
Who rents their own apartment? Governors or senators?
I didn't hear you.
Who rents the apartments? Governors or senators?
The senators and the members of the House of Reps. I mean, they don't give them houses. They don't give them anything because they're serving. They're representing the people. And so all this thing about, we give them cars, we give them all these things, those are things that are peculiar to us here. Only maybe because of the history that we have, the civil service history that we have in this country.
No, because our guys are huge home owners here.
Yeah, but well, even though they have huge homes, if the law says they are entitled to it, you can't say, well, because I have a huge home, I mean, you can give it up if you want.
And it's amazing, we always say, no, we copied from this state, look at how they do, but we seem to just modify where we want.
No, I don't think salaries are copied. Because, look, if you look at United States democracy, it evolves. I mean, I always refer people to the Federalist Papers. Go read the Federalist and see how they argue. They don't pull guns at each other to get to where they are because they have a global view of what they wanted to achieve. Democracy is not just about going and representing people. You have to put the fairness issue in it. How are we seen? What image are we projecting? If we go there and we pay each other this huge amount of money, I mean, that is why the public has a passion on the National Assembly, because they think they're just making too much money.
All right, let's get our colleague in, Mark, but she's got a question. Mark,
Now, some people will say that is it because they are in public service? What in the instance where we have top people who've retired from the private sector, earning their pensions and whatever else is due them, and they are in public service? Should we also be beaming our lights on those people as well?
Well, you have to draw a line between public service and private life. Public service connotes, it entails some sort of, volunteerism. I want to serve the public. So I have to give up certain things. And the satisfaction that I get from serving the public is helping people, making sure things work for ordinary folks, for the most vulnerable folks. So you have to. This is not an enterprise. It's not where you go and you trade and you make a lot of money. And remember that all this money we're talking about belongs to the public. is all of our money. And that is the perception, that is the public perception, that these people are making too much money, even though it is legal in some. How do you explain to ordinary folks on the street that at the end of each assembly, people get severance, and then when they return, and at the end of that assembly, they get severance again? So that's why I call it multiple dipping, because you dip at every point. And yes, of course, it is true that maybe our lawmakers here face challenges that are peculiar to us here. You go home, people are knocking at your doors, they have issues and so on and so forth. Yes, they do that. They have those over there as well. People call on their assembly, on their representatives for help. But you don't dip into the government purse to provide those help. You set up what they call constituency funds, which you raise money privately.
And they have that as well.
Well,
in addition to the severance here,
but
they have constituency projects as well.
Exactly. And then, but again, now let's try to link that to how do we get to become a senator or a member of the House of Reps? The amount of money they spend in getting there. That's what I'm talking about. Everything, we have to look at this holistically.
But would you be surprised if a lawmaker will say, well, in order for us to be perceived properly in the eye of the public, I, Senator this, I'd like to move a motion that let's reconsider our emoluments. How do you see that playing out on the floor of the House? Would the nays or the yeas have it?
Well, I think that would be a good move, but the question is, can you actually do that, knowing that you spend so much in getting to where you are? And you have to make that money back one way or the other. Over there, you don't spend your money without some regulation in campaigning or getting to become an elected member of the legislature. You raise funds, and that is actually monitored. You have a treasurer that reports all this money to the government, so they know that you're not spending your own money. Because if you do, of course, it becomes an incentive when you get there to be corrupt, because you have to make that money back.
So in other words, there has to be a reworking of our political system,
we have to rework the whole thing. So if we go about and start cherry picking, we will not get a whole global picture. If put yourself in the position of a member of the House of Reps, you spend 200 million on election, and you get there, I mean, you're already broke. And somebody's saying, give us your severance. I mean, what are you going to say?
But the question Chairman asked, so would it be, what would you think if a lawmaker or some lawmakers got up and said, you know what, let's rework our electoral process through this bill?
My answer is, you will never get there.
Ouch.
Yes, you can't. Why? Because that lawmaker spends so much money getting there. You know, we are part of this system. We vote. When a lawmaker, a prospective lawmaker comes out to campaign, you see how they give people money? If you don't give them money, they're not going to listen to you. So that is part of it. And if you do that, how do you make that money back? I mean, they're not stupid.
Well, and part of the big question is the Revenue Mobilization Allocation of Fiscal Commission. Do they have the
wherewithal, the powers?
No. Will they have the effrontery, not effrontery,
the willpower?
The courage, the willpower to say, right from Mr. President to the lawmakers, we need to, and the governors, will they have that courage to actually say, well, we've listened to the public, we need to reduce your salaries? That will be the day. Yeah, it will be. Mr. Mwewa Shobo, a legal practitioner, we appreciate your coming on this morning.
Thank you very much.
We'll be back after the break. Join us again.